Arts Adventure summits the airwaves. This is the Ogden Arts and Adventure Show. I'm your host, R. Brandon Long, along with
Todd Oberndorfer.
And we are your hosts for the greatest arts and adventure show in all the land. And Todd lined this one up for us. Todd, how did you even pull this off? We've got more people in here than we can even put cameras on. So
did I tell you what I do for a living?
No,
has that come up before? So, so I have I've worked with some. I'm meeting some for the first time, friends of friends. But I think you'll see the connection here in just a minute. And so this is all based in Ogden Contemporary Art Space, which is just right. We can see it. It's like right over there.
Yeah. Do you want to do the introductions?
Yeah, we can. Let's start with Kasey, because Kasey is kind of responsible for getting us all together.
I just love she showed up in the work clothes. It's like, hey, you pulled me off the street. I'm over here in the work clothes.
I just feel bad that we don't have official Banyan Collective overall
jumpers.
Yeah, the coveralls are very cool.
Yeah, they're dope. Oh, we like them.
But now I'm kind of jealous. And
so you like the authentic Oka behind the scenes.
This is what it looks like behind the scenes, yeah.
Yep.
Because on Friday you're going to look very different. You're going to be all glammed down.
Get all dressed up.
Do you want to introduce our artist?
Yes. So
and kind of let us know. Let's go back just half a step to the creation of the show itself. And I'm going to actually learn a thing or two myself. And that is where this originated. I know that it coincides with NCECA's conference, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. But does it go back further than that?
Well, so NCECA was the yes. So it started with that, and so we wanted to have a ceramic exhibition to coincide with NCECA.
And NCECA stands for? Aimee, do you know?
Yeah, I know, but I'm so tired that it's national.
I think ceramics is in the word.
Yeah,
is in the title.
I'll take a guess. I think it's National Council on Education for the Ceramic Arts.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah,
we're going to say that's correct.
It is. I'm pretty sure that is correct. Yeah, it's just such a long name, and I'm like, I knew I need to memorize this, but and I'm familiar with it. I haven't ever been to the conference, but my old workplace. That's when I first heard about it. I used to work at the Donkey Mill Art Center, and they have a really awesome ceramic studio and ceramic community. That's actually where I.
What was the name of that space again?
The Donkey Mill Art Center.
What's that first word?
Donkey Mill. So it's
You're just gonna breeze right past that.
Yeah. Well, so it's the Holualoa Foundation on Arts and Culture, and
in Hawaii.
Yeah, in Hawaii on the Big Island on the Kona side. Cool. The reason why it's called the Donkey Mill is because originally it was a coffee mill, and back in the day they used a lot of donkey labor to
That's fascinating.
Do the farming.
If we get to nothing else today, I think.
But it's actually a really magical place. And yes, that's where I learned about Elyse and her work. She was an artist in residence there in 2022, I believe.
Yes, for a month.
Yes.
Oh, that's not a bad space.
No.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool place. So if you guys are ever out on the Big Island on the Kona side, you should definitely visit. It's really cool.
I can't remember the name of the space. I was fortunate. I was the enemy for a while. I worked on a ship that figure eighted the main islands, and I got to know them. But Kona had, and I can't remember the name of the space, the best banana pancakes, and every time I had a chance to jump off.
I don't remember.
Yeah, it was so good.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not familiar.
Little things.
But yeah. So when we were, Vanessa and I were chatting about a ceramic show that could coincide with the conference, and I immediately thought of Elyse, because when Elyse was an artist in residence at the Donkey Mill, I didn't get a chance to meet her because I was working remotely at the time, so it was tail end of COVID, and I was transitioning from the Donkey Mill to working for Oka. But I was really taken aback by her work. I thought it was really beautiful, and then the underlying theme I thought was really powerful. So I introduced Elyse's work to Vanessa, and Vanessa was super excited about it too. And so then we wanted to pair Elyse's work with a local artist, and I had met Aimee during the Utah Statewide Annual that took place in 2022, I think, actually. So I was like, this would be a really cool opportunity to bring Elyse to to Oka and to Utah, and then to have a solo exhibition with Aimee's work, because I think she's making really cool contemporary work as well. So we wanted ceramic artists that are making very contemporary work using ceramics. So that's how that came about.
I think that's two amazing choices. And so when did the process begin again? How long does it take to put together a show
about
like
a
this?
year ago, we started chatting about
that's
it, and
crazy.
then
Because Todd books too. Does it take you that long, Todd?
Yeah, it's about a year and a half.
Yeah.
yeah, you have to make your exhibit schedule, and
Well, the artists have to have time to do new work too.
That's true.
often the case. Yeah.
And for me, I had to pack it and travel it. So
get it all prepared. And yeah, so you want to do it well in advance. Typically, you want to have your exhibition schedule at least like 2 years and planned out 2 years in advance.
Yeah, I don't do 2 years.
So it helps. Then you
No, that's brilliant. That's
Yeah.
You guys are amazing.
but sometimes it doesn't work out that way. But yeah, you try to plan it out at least 2 years in advance for because then the marketing comes in and and the programming and all of that. So yeah.
Well, welcome to Ogden, Elyse.
thank you.
Pignolet.
Happy. Yes.
See, look at that, the first time.
Very happy to be here.
First time to Utah?
No.
Question mark?
No. Many years ago, I was in Park City for an art film.
It's almost exactly the same as the rest of the state.
Park City and Ogden.
You've been to
are like
Park City,
twins.
you've been to everywhere else in Utah.
And I was trying to think if I had driven. Yeah, I mean, it's been a while, so I would say I'm just happy to be here now. It's been since when did I get here?
Oh, just
Yesterday?
Monday. Yeah, just yesterday.
Man, I'm tired.
So you're going to be setting up, I guess, for another couple of days, question mark?
Question mark.
Yeah.
Hopefully done
Okay,
by
so-
Friday.
So the exhibition's Friday? Is that
The opening is Friday.
opening's Friday? Okay.
Yeah. If you take a look in the gallery, you're going to say, yeah, Friday.
Friday.
It'll
Question
definitely
mark.
be Friday.
It's gonna
We always make sure it's
No, we're very confident.
yes.
We'll be done soon.
Well, welcome to Utah. Your experience with NCECA, do you frequent that conference?
No, I've had work there that has like a curator has had my work included in shows, but I've never been myself.
Are you busy? You're going to be able to come back during the show?
When is NCECA? I mean, I'm coming back.
So NCECA
March.
is at the end of March, the
So I-
week of it's the 24th through
It's like Wednesday
28th.
through a Saturday or something like that?
And Elyse she is coming back here in March for another Oka event, but it's going to be earlier. March.
Okay.
Yeah.
So don't know.
You get
Maybe
to come
there'll be
back
a
again
third
and
time.
again.
Yeah.
You might even have time to go back to Park City again sometime. It's still very
Park
beautiful.
City. It's all about Ogden.
Oh, I see how it is.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
clip that on the
They have this weird sun dance thing that just happened.
Just
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
what that's
some
that'll be a
people
whole
know
nother
about it.
show. Yeah,
Yeah, some people.
that was really fun. That's what I did last week.
yeah. Did
Yeah,
you?
went to a bunch of movies.
Fun.
It was so much fun. It was great. It was a little bit of a downer, like outside of my control. My my Sundance best friend lives in the Pacific Palisades and lost his home, and so we always stay together. And so he didn't come out, obviously, and so there was a cloud for sure. But I still went out, and it was still very well attended. But that was you could tell on everyone's mind because so many people were affected. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Aimee, Odum. So we know each other from a little bit. I don't know, when would we first meet? I think 35 by 35.
Yeah, that's about.
Does that sound about right? And then since then, and this will be a little bit of transition to Allie too, is that we were, if I'm not mistaken, the first stop for let me get it right, Artist Run Club Salt Lake City.
Yes, that's correct.
And so this is based on a group that was started not necessarily in Salt Lake City. Where was it based?
It was the Artist Run Club was started in Austin, Texas.
Austin, that was it.
By Philip Niemeyer, who runs the Northern Southern Gallery. And I somehow connected with him, I think via social media. We were both in Art Miami at the same time. And so I was like, I really want to run with the Artist Run Club because they do like a pop-up. And it didn't end up working out. But then, we still kept chatting. And I was like, this would be so great for Salt Lake. And he was super generous and gave me kind of the rundown of how they started the club and how they operate. And and then at the same time, I had met Kat Velasquez, who is my co-organizer. She's unable to make it tonight, but I met her at a Women of the Wasatch event, and somehow we got to talking, and I was like, "You're an artist?" And she's like, "No way, you're an artist." And we're like, we never meet artists at other run events, so it was this super kind of unique coincidence, and just all made sense.
Wait, so this is now an official club?
Yeah.
In Salt Lake, they're still doing it?
Yeah.
Yeah? Because Ogden does like Ogden Pub Runner, so y'all are classing it up down there.
Oh, seeing art? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you do it every week. You've been doing it for, when was the first one? I don't remember.
It was in March 2024.
Okay, so we're almost a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big
And have you missed
celebration.
a week yet?
So the winter, we've sort of been a little more like every other week
Okay.
because of the weather. And
Yeah, because of the weather. Because it's been like 18 degrees some mornings, probably even cooler than that. And but what's so nice about that is they choose a different gallery space or mural tour, or kind of however you guys do it, museum, and you meet at a normal, what is it, 7 a.m., 7:30 a.m. And
Oh, it's in the morning?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
so the Artist Friend Club in Austin meets at 6:30 a.m. And I was like, Kat and I were like, we cannot do that.
You make the rules here, that's not going to happen.
As someone who meets you at Finch Lane Gallery about once a month, I appreciate you not being at 6:30. Yeah. But that being said, it's been well attended. You have your group of regulars at this point, but I'm sure you have people that just pop up, every now and again.
Yeah.
And so this is a nice transition to introduce, and I have to read the bio that Aimee gave me for Allie in this text.
Oh, no.
Because it was great. So Allie.
Wait. Can we just say thanks to the beer sponsor real quick?
Oh, yes, please.
Yeah,
It's a good
Salt and
time to jump
Hops.
in.
Salt and Hops gave us some Level Crossing down the road, West Coast India Pale Ale. Let's see, if it'll focus on that. I don't know. But it's a VW Bug with a surfboard, which is great. There we go. Hey, there we go. Level Crossing down the road, West Coast India Pale Ale. So, again,
That's cute.
Salt and Hops is your one-stop shop for craft beers in Ogden, open 7 days a week. So if it's Sunday and you go to the liquor store and you're like, what the hell? You can go to Salt and Hops, grab craft beer in Ogden. Utah's, I don't know if you know this. Utah's a little different.
Learned, yes, I've learned.
All right. So we're
A few hours in. I learned quick.
Okay, good. So we got these liquor stores, and they're a little difficult sometimes. But Salt and Hops is they specialize in craft beer, and especially in Utah. So not all the craft breweries in Utah have the power or the means to distribute their beer all over throughout the state. Mm-hmm. So this little store, 2 blocks over on 27th Street, they literally drive around the state of Utah and pick up beers. They'll make up excuses to go to Southern Utah and these other places, and then visit the breweries, bring beer back here to Ogden, and then you can go buy some. So they have a great
nice
selection.
of them to do that for us.
Yeah, and they sponsor the show, so thanks so much to Salt and Hops over there. Thanks for the beer.
I think this is their first IPA that they've brought over.
Yeah, it might be.
It's delicious.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
I used to be a huge IPA guy. I'm getting older now. It's just like, give me the ultras, whatever those
You're
are.
losing your head. Yes. All right. So
Okay,
thanks for getting
continue.
that in there. So Allie Kolaski, did I say that right? Mm-hmm. Able to choice an Ultrarunner, a child psychologist, an art lover, a glitter fanatic.
That was the only one I read was the Glitter Fanatic.
And then here's the last one that I'm like, well, that all sounds like that's probably 40 hours right there. But then you just recently took on the role of executive director for Women of the Wasatch, the aforementioned Women of the Wasatch. And so thank you for making time for us today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell me about, when did you start your ED position? What's your story with Women of the Wasatch? And maybe tell us just a little bit about that organization.
Yeah, absolutely. So I joined the Women of the Wasatch, started as a text thread actually among friends in the Wasatch, just a group of women who wanted to get out together on the trails and kind of push the limits of their, training, and wanted women to do that with. It grew from 6 people to 20 people to oh goodness, we need let's try group me, to oh goodness, we need more than that. We now have about 2,500 members locally.
That's a big text thread.
Yeah.
Yes, we are now on a Discord. So us and the gamers are on Discord, and
Shout out.
yeah.
That's really funny.
Yeah, and so we as we grew, it became clear that it was more than just kind of a run club. We do have 7 different local chapters. We have an Ogden specific chapter, a location up in Logan, several Salt Lake City chapters, a Draper chapter, and just recently opened a Provo chapter and a Park City chapter this year. And so each of those chapters hosts weekly runs, where we guarantee the run will be like a social pace, accessible to beginners. And so people can get out and explore trails, etc. But we also now are a 501c3 nonprofit.
Oop, went official. Look out.
We are official. And so our primary mission is to kind of break down barriers for access in the sport of trail running for women, LGBTQ+, BIPOC. And so we do multiple scholarships for gear, coaching, races, travel to races, all sorts of things to try to get members of the community who might not have access to that kind of, buying gear is expensive. Investing in a sport is expensive.
You wouldn't think so because it's running and you're like, ooh, you just need some shoes. Oh yeah, I'm not wearing them. But they're like $150 now for a good pair of running shoes. So it's not cheap.
Yeah, so we do that. We do a lot of demo runs with different local companies so people can try out the shoes before they buy them. We'll bring in nutrition brands, things like that. So just basically building opportunities for people to kind of get access to trying out the things that they need to be accessing adventure. So
we have a good friend here in Ogden, Tara Warren. Are you familiar with her?
I am familiar with Tara.
Okay.
Tara's amazing. Yeah.
She's been on the show multiple times, but
she's like an up and comer. I think that
she might.
Tara is incredible.
She just kind of get things started. She had a good summer. We had her on to talk about her summer.
Yeah,
and we.
I did actually offer to drive up and bring Tara glitter for her last race, and she said no. So
this glitter thing.
Yeah,
is
talk
real.
to me about the glitter. What is it?
Well, so there's Alexi Pappas is an Olympic runner from the United States, and she wrote a book, Bravey. It's an amazing book about running and adventuring.
I'm sorry, I missed her name. What was it again?
Alexi Pappas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And she, for a lot of her races, will wear like really elaborate glitter. And I just think that it's this beautiful intersection between like you're doing something really hard and physical, and that has been really very dominated by men, especially in the ultra running space. The ratio between men and women at a lot of start lines of 100 milers is like, 70, 30, 90, 10. And then you show up in this like almost excessively feminine way with like glitter and pink and
Very
bows. Cool. And so that has become kind of like a signature for me. So I more often than not have glitter.
Okay, so my daughter, who's 14, has informed me that like the coquette. Are you familiar with this bow? The bows are back.
Bows are back. Yeah, bows are really in.
Okay. Yeah, this is like the thing, and I'm like, oh my god, we're going full girly mode, I guess. So okay.
Right, and I think like the idea of that you can be like muddy and dirty and also feminine is really important to me. So
yeah.
I have a 14-year-old daughter too.
You do? Okay.
And when she was little, she would be like, we play sports, she plays sports. She's mostly a soccer player. And when she was little, it'd be like pink tutu, and then she'd just kill it. Like, just
murdering kids on the soccer field. Yeah.
So I like that. Yeah. Tough and sweet.
Tough and sweet. That's cool.
So do you have any events coming up? Are you?
Yes, we do. So a couple of course, our chapter runs are running. You can find more information about us on our Instagram at Women of the Wasatch or on our website. We're doing a special Galentine's Day run just next week with a couple of local businesses, with our Salt Lake chapter, and actually also with our Logan chapter. And then we'll be hosting a spring fundraising gala. So if you're interested in supporting us and our scholarship work, keep eyes open on our Instagram for that event.
Is this like membership, like you pay dues, or is it free and open? Like, how does it work?
Free and open.
Free and
Yeah,
open.
yeah. We're really committed, especially for the weekly runs, to make it a space that anyone can access for free.
Okay. Dogs allowed? I don't know.
Many of the runs have dogs allowed, depending on whether they're watershed or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Responsible dog owners.
Responsible dog owners.
And we will call your ass out. I tell you.
They exist. You don't get me started on that.
I know. I
It's
know.
like a biggest pet peeve for me is irresponsible dog owners.
Todd's a dog owner, so he can have an opinion.
I had a question. How many miles do you run on an average run for your meetups?
Yeah, they typically range from like
question.
3 to 7 miles, depending on the chapter. And the chapters take on their own identity. So some of them, in Salt Lake, we have, we call it the Snake Social, and it's our most social, beginner-friendly run. And that one is about 4 miles. And a lot of the uphills for that run will be walking, hiking, and it's more about kind of getting to know people versus our Park City chapter will sometimes do longer runs up to 8 miles. And so it just kind of depends on the flavor. But each run has a guaranteed, we call it a party pacer, who makes sure that no one is left behind.
Great.
So, go ahead, Todd.
Oh, I was going to say we have apparently special relationships with executive directors. We have a lot of executive
So many
directors.
EDs. Yeah.
People who have
I
too
know.
much on their
Show.
plate who just want to do more.
So how did that happen for you? And so with me, I always think back to this. So I'm on Ogden City's Arts Advisory Committee, and I remember and I'm quite responsible. We meet once a month,
Wait,
and
where's-
there was one day. So there was one day that I missed. This is when I think we were meeting in person. I think we've gone to online mostly now, but there was one day I missed, and then I found out, I got a call or an email that I had been voted as the vice chair.
You're welcome, Todd. I may or may not have had
Never
something to
missed
do
a
with that.
meeting since. Yeah.
And then of course the trajectory is from vice chair to chair, and kind of works my way through, and I don't mind those positions, but I wasn't looking for that necessarily at that moment.
No,
But,
you were not there during the voting,
Nope.
if I remember. Yeah.
Nope.
And I suggested you.
Yeah,
And
thank
so
you.
you're welcome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
appreciate that. I think I did all right. Yeah, I did all right.
You were
But,
during COVID, so that was not easy.
This is true too.
Yeah.
But that being said, what was your trajectory to end up as the executive director?
Yeah, so for a long time, I was just a member of WOW. I stepped into supporting with
I just got that wow.
with the, WOW.
It's
Yes,
like a-
women of the Wasatch. Yeah.
I just got the wow. Okay.
Great, everyone.
Yeah.
Better late.
Anyone else?
Thanks.
I'll take a beat now for you all to understand the acronym.
Oh, geez.
So I stepped
I'm
in to
slow.
help,
Okay.
with the Draper chapter, and then was invited to join the board just as we were kind of getting our 501c3 status. We expanded the board at that point, and I stepped on as a community outreach co-director with my co-director, and did 1 year in that position, as a really very adolescent organization, only with 2 years of nonprofit status under our belt. We're still kind of figuring out what works for us in terms of the size of the board, the positions on the board. And as we moved into this year, we sort of did some restructuring, removed some positions, added some, and I was asked to step into the role of executive director, and because I thought I had time, and in addition to owning my own business, running a private practice, trying to train myself, I decided it's just like it's a heart pull for me.
It's very satisfying what you do. It has to be.
Yeah, but Ultrarunner doesn't take that much time.
No.
I mean, come on.
Yeah. And the irony of, I started running as a graduate student thinking it was just put on your shoes and run out the door. I'd been climbing, all these other outdoors adventures that require like packing all your gear and all your stuff. And then the first race I did was a 50K. So I was in from the start.
Did you do a marathon before, or a half?
Nope.
Or a 5K?
Nope.
Okay, you just went straight 50K.
Straight to 50K.
That's a great story.
Yeah. That is kind of the vibe, and that's why I'm also an executive director.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that sounds a little bit like our Banyan story. More times than not, where you just kind of
Yeah, you just go for it.
just start here rather than kind of here and work your way up.
Ultra marathons are easier than marathons. So if anyone's listening, I promise you, the fun starts at mile 27.
The fun starts at mile 26.
yeah.
Did you hear that, Brandon?
Well,
You remember that?
I've in my past, my youth, 5 marathons, two 50Ks completed. Nothing more than a 50K. And yeah, the 50Ks didn't seem really any more, even though there's like massive hills and stuff and it's off-road, didn't seem harder than the marathons. But you haven't run a marathon. You only do.
I've run several marathons.
Oh, you have now?
Yeah,
Okay.
Maybe like.
But the road, and it's something to do with the people. I don't know. It's when you're on the trail, it just seems nicer and more fun, and it doesn't seem as hard as the marathon for some reason.
I'm kind of I dabble in both. I love a like big city marathon. I've done New York, I've done LA, I've done
big city.
Philadelphia.
That's fantastic.
You know, the crowd support and the cheering and the
Any,
the finish line
rock and
feels.
rolls?
I haven't done any of those yet.
Okay, did Rock and Roll San Diego? They really do. They set up bands on like different corner streets, and they play. And then that's fun. You know, give that a shot one time.
Yeah, absolutely. But then also like the 25 person 50K in the middle of nowhere. I love it all. So
Love it.
So what's the I can't say words today.
Can you repeat that, please?
If we could make a drinking game out of me saying trajectory, it's like the second time now. For the Artist Run Club, is this going to be the nonprofit in the next couple of years?
We've kind of taken like a more low key approach.
That's a good answer.
Coordinating with the galleries or the artist studios or the murals is kind of an event in itself every week.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And we've really we adopted the platform that Artist Run Club has in Austin, Texas, but since then we've kind of tried to adapt along the way to what fits for our local community. So I believe they primarily see galleries every week, and there's a lot more galleries in Austin, Texas. And we found out that we were running out of galleries to visit that were willing to meet with us at 7 a.m.
I was going to say, they open up early for you.
Yeah, it's kind of this special thing, which, I mean, is so phenomenal to just look at art first thing that you see in the morning.
I love it.
That's fantastic. Yeah, it sets the mood for the day.
Yeah.
Sure.
I just love it. Looking back over the last year, any standouts? Like any amazing mornings? Like a combination of, maybe a particularly excited runner or a particularly exciting show?
Honestly, it's kind of the highlight of my week every week. So
Aww.
it's hard to say that it anyone is better. I think it's really cool to kind of overhear, or when somebody says I just ran my first 5K with you guys, that feels really cool to hear, or to kind of just eavesdrop on people's conversations where they're talking through their art practice on the run and trying to figure things out, because it's a great space to kind of have those kind of conversations naturally.
It's been a great place for me to poach artists too.
And do you meet first and see the art and then do the run? And again, how many miles do you run?
Great
I'm
question.
I wonder if LA has one.
We didn't go through all that. So we meet at 7 a.m. We look at the art for 30 minutes. And usually if it's an artist studio or a gallery like Finch Lane, they give a little spiel about what's going on. And then there's usually time for people to ask questions.
You have coffee?
They do that in Austin. We haven't got that far. They have sponsors. They have,
snap. Yeah,
they've
okay.
got PT sponsors with coffee and bananas sometimes. So, we're open. If anybody wants to drink coffee, this is an open call.
A coffee sponsor. This needs to be sponsored.
Yeah, 100%.
Let's see what we can do to help that. Yeah.
Right.
I think that's actually a great idea. Okay, here's our transition back to the show's opening. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Elise's question. We run a 5K every week.
Great.
Yeah.
So
after the art.
Yeah.
Okay.
After the art. Do you got that?
So you must do a loop if you're meeting there. Or
Yeah, it's usually a loop in the local neighborhood. So funny enough, I also prefer trails, but we always do a road run unless there's a little park or something close by.
Do you scout the runs beforehand?
Actually, Kat has been mapping every single run, and
so good.
she sometimes scouts them ahead of time.
You guys are so good at what you do.
Yeah.
Everybody's so happy at 7 o'clock.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah. I actually look forward to it now. I really do. I think the very first one, it was oh my God, because driving from Salt Lake and all of that, or from Ogden, and I look forward to it. In fact, I can't wait for you to see the next show too.
Awesome.
I'll have to find a time for that. So speaking of shows, I want to make sure and talk a little bit more about our upcoming shows that's going to open on Friday. And so we'll start with you, Elyse. And remind me the name of your show.
Good girl.
Good girl.
Good girl. Okay, so tell me about the title.
Oh, I know.
I'm big into sort of artist statements, so give me a little brief artist statement. What do we have to look forward to on Friday?
Sure. So my background as an artist, I mostly work in ceramics, so you will see a lot of ceramics. I guess we covered that a little bit. The title, Kasey kind of came up with that, basically, but it comes from a title of a wallpaper that I have in the show, which is Good Girl, Bad Girl. And the work, it actually started, this sort of series of blue and white ceramics that I've been working on, started quite a few years back. But some of the larger installations are relatively new. I think 2023 and 2022. And while at first sort of glance, the work looks very traditional. Like you'll see lots of plates, sort of based on the blue and white tradition of ceramics. And intentionally, I'm referencing that because it's a tradition that's sort of global at this point. And through hundreds of years of appropriation, what started in the Middle East, went to Asia and then was loved so much that it was appropriated in Europe. And so anyone that comes to the show will kind of have this sense of familiarity, like they've seen it before, but hopefully on like a closer look, you'll kind of see or feel sort of a shift, and sort of reading the text that it's less traditional and definitely more commentary on social issues today, basically on women's rights and things that contemporary women deal with on a daily basis in this country.
I got
in a nutshell.
peek and it looks amazing.
How did you come upon ceramics? How did you find ceramics?
Or did ceramics find you?
Yes.
Sometimes that happens.
That's
Just
a
hit
good
you
question.
in the head.
Yeah. Very early. I was very lucky, and I don't know if a lot of children get exposed to as much art now. I mean, I hope they are. But I had a ceramics class, I think, first in high school.
Yeah.
And loved it. And, I've always been sort of drawn to art. Like, I just did it on my own as a kid, I think. And then I majored in it in college. So sort of stayed with it.
And they had ceramics in college.
They did. I mean, I found a good program and sort of, went to it. So,
Okay.
yeah.
That's a good question, because I don't think we had a ceramic studio in high school.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't believe we did.
I wonder if my high school still does. I have no idea.
Yeah. So an introduction at any sort of early age.
That's one of those things when the budget cuts come along, they're like, ceramics?
Yeah.
They get rid of these things.
Yeah,
Very unfortunate. Yeah.
It's true too. Yeah, I was talking to somebody recently about glass blowing. One thing that I have never done.
Todd just has a random glass blowing conversation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's looking back to one of these things where I would have loved to have been, had the opportunity. Let's just say, and I probably could have sought that one out. But it's one that, right now, at the age I am, I want to try it. Like I really want to try it this year.
That'd be awesome.
So I want to track down a glass blowing studio. I don't want to get extra profession at it, but I want to make something for myself.
I feel like that's like a Seattle or like a Washington State kind of thing.
I think you're probably right.
Yeah. There's a school, I think, for glass there, but I'm not. Polchek, isn't he an artist that might have a school up there?
I think so.
I haven't been.
There's a gallery up the street from you that does it. Lost Acorn?
Lost Acorn does glass blowing. Yeah.
Okay. They do glass.
Yeah.
How they get there,
I'm not sure.
we're not so sure.
Well, you can
Stained glass is kind of
stained glass.
trending now, / it's beautiful, incredible. And I'm seeing more and more of that.
I feel like all the sort of the crafts.
Yeah,
these days,
I think you're kind of right. But that's something that I definitely want to try very soon. So you're sharing the space with Aimee, and I remember the name of your show because it stands out. So
It's a band we have coming on in a couple months.
Doomscroller?
Yeah, Doomscroller.
It does sound like a band that we would have on big sessions. Yeah. So tell us where that name came from and a little bit about your show.
I think it would be cool to be a band too. Is that a real band?
No, I was kidding, but I'm like, I saw the name and I thought, man, that would be the raddest band name.
I'll poke around. You never know. Yeah.
So my work is primarily about our human relationship with technology, oftentimes through the outlook of the natural world. And so the concept for my show came about because the last handful of years I've been incorporating artificial intelligence as a collaborator in my practice.
Interesting.
Yeah, so...
Is AI playing along nicely with you?
I guess it depends what you want.
Yeah.
Does it give me the results that I want every time? No. But
okay.
It's been really interesting.
You can't see what's in your head yet and like spit it out.
No, but I do sometimes try to approach it like it is like a friend collaborating with me in the studio, even though I know that it's not to that point
yet. It's horrible
yet.
directions.
Yeah. It is.
Okay.
It can be really, lately it's been very literal.
Yeah.
Like, that's a little cliche, AI, come on.
Yeah. Interesting.
So.
That's super interesting because that's interesting. How do you get it to be creative?
Well, I use AI as well.
There's all kinds of uses, but
there's all sorts of uses. But I do know that the more that my personal sort of chat gets to know me and what I do, it has evolved tremendously from then to now. And so I haven't worked with it on a creative basis, but more on a sort of administrative side, right? But it's really incredible. Like it's a tool, and it's somebody like me who doesn't have a direct assistant. It kind of is my assistant sometimes, right? But it's also taken time to get to this point, and I continue to learn. And so where did that come to being? Where were you introduced to? Was it through chat? Was it what open source do you use? Or
I've used quite a few different AI options. So my work has always kind of like played into the way that different forms of technology influence like perception and the way that we look at the world. But the AI incorporation started because a couple years ago because it was in the news, and everybody was like, oh, AI is going to take over the world. There's all this fear, and then there's also this promise of like all these amazing things it's going to do for us. So there was such a stark contrast on the way that people were viewing it. And so my approach is to just curiosity, like what can I find out about it, like for my own opinion. And
because it's here.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere. Some of the things I've learned along the way is like our fear of it is really more about our fear of each other. And because it's really like people behind AI right now. The greed and the power and the competition, and the design too, like some of the art generating apps, like the art that comes out of it, you can tell like the designer behind it, what they have input into the programs.
So because you'll be talking about AI, I'm sure quite a bit over the next month or two, sort of in combination with the show, because I do know many artists are like, it's a dirty word. I don't necessarily see it that way, but that being said, I see maybe their point of view, right? Elyse, do you have any thoughts on this? Kasey, this is a really good topic.
I had a question actually from another OCA staff member. She was just questioning, like, wanting to hear more about the ethics of using AI, and I think that's a great conversation too, to be like, because I know I've read that it can be bad for the environment as well because of the amount of data that is used and energy. But so I think I'm excited about the conversations that we're going to have in the next couple of months regarding AI, and maybe by the end of the exhibit, AI will get smarter than humans and then just take over the whole world. I don't know, but
exponentially fast. There's no question about that.
An interesting conversation too about. And when I visited Aimee at her studio, she was saying how AI is like, evolving so rapidly that it's hard to keep up with it. So it's even just thinking about the unknown of how it is going to shape us in the future. And so I don't know, there's a lot to unpack.
Do you
I
use
hate
any
that word,
AI
but-
over the course of your day?
Occasionally, yes, I do, because it helps do things efficiently. Sometimes if I need something done faster, especially with writing sometimes, like even if you have to write something really basic, if you're like, okay, I have this list, can you just clean it up a bit? Like sometimes you'll do that just to speed up your work process. It can be helpful. But I personally try not to use it very much because I don't want to get too dependent on it. But that's just my own personal.
So Todd, I don't know if you know this because I use it all the time for our shorts. So I'll plug in. So I use Opus, if you're familiar with Opus. But you can take an hour-long video, plug it into Opus, and within 5 minutes, they will kick out 25 to 30 different shorts suggestions based on that video. And then I go in, and it's never perfect. So I always go in, you have to edit it still, but at least I don't have to go through the full hour podcast and pick the sections. It picks it for me. And the funniest trend that I have seen is that if you mention van or whatever, it picks all the van stuff. Artist in a van or conversation in a van. Like it really preferences van.
Vans are trending right now.
I guess. Yeah, vans are trending in AI for some reason. But
you have to watch our own videos to see what's popular right now.
Yeah. And it's super helpful to cut down on that time that it takes to just go through a full hour video and pick out like these certain things to cut shorts from. Because people want to see the quick bites and stuff. So that's how we use it in our world, FYI. Anyway, yeah.
And I do with mine as well. Like we kind of talked about that. It's good for like metrics and like sort of end of year reports and that type of thing. Like it's really good at compiling a lot of information.
Get stuff
that would have taken me
really fast.
It does. And then it still needs that human touch. There's no question about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I dare say even that time has like, I mean, it's not going to be much longer before it's like, oh, that's really good. That's really good. As far as compiling that sort of information, what are your thoughts? Do you have any thoughts on AI, Elyse?
Oh, I have a lot of thoughts. I mean, it's such an interesting time. And then I was thinking about, like, I have a teenage daughter and, kids that are actually being brought up during this. And it's so much more part of their education. I don't use it. Not that I'm like fearful. I like tried once and got frustrated because there is a learning curve. And I'm like, I don't really need it in my day to day. But I think about technology a lot. Being someone who works in clay as a profession in 2025, it's such a strange thing. It's such an old medium, I just work with my hands, like literally in the mud. And I think about that in comparison to what is out there technology wise. And, I live in Los Angeles, like home of movies and, this crazy technology. And so, I think about those contrasts all the time. But I don't know.
But
Curious.
Once upon a time, ceramics was a form of technology too.
Sure.
It used to be like this big new thing. I mean,
yeah. I mean, I guess. Yeah. I mean, you could say that about fire, I guess. Like once you put the fire in the mud, it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
But, it is how we sort of know about the oldest civilizations. It's like the pottery shards they've left behind. So it's fascinating. I mean, it's just, but I guess it was a new thing. A bowl.
I used AI to do homework for my 10-year-old kid, which was awesome.
Yeah, I have a 10-year-old too.
Yeah. So like it was math, and I'm like, I don't know,
because they do it differently now.
They do it different. I'm all, I don't know. Let me ask so and so. So and it pulls it up, and he was like, yeah. And so the kids learn so fast. Like they adopt to the new things. Right? Like we're older and we have questions. We don't actually like absorb it as quickly, but the kids are like, sweet, cool, yeah, and they just dive into it.
It goes so fast.
They go
like,
so fast.
Slow down.
Yeah, and so I cannot imagine how they will use it in the future. Like this is not for us. Like it's going to be for the kids who are 10 and 6 and 14 now. They're going to use it in ways we can't even imagine, which is wild.
Yeah, on a campus writing papers, that type of thing is the story that I would love to hear. Like Like, what's going to keep that from? Yeah, I'm done with my paper.
So I have a funny story about that. I have a friend whose husband, he teaches at the University of Utah, and I was asking her about that. I'm like, how is he able to tell if his students, which maybe I shouldn't give his secret away, but he'll in the assignment that he'll give them, he'll put like, I don't know, say something about Spider-Man if he wants an essay, but he'll do it in white so that the students can't see that text. So he'll know if somebody used AI if it like mentioned something about Spider-Man, for example. But like, and she said that he did get some papers back that like, mentioned Spider-Man. So it's like, well,
because they put the whole
They just copy.
yeah, they're like, let's do, yeah. But I think those are like the really lazy students that maybe didn't even check, because I think it would be a good tool for doing homework. But if you're just like, if you're
fully relying on it, then yeah.
Yeah. But she said that's how he's able to tell if somebody, used AI in that way where they didn't do any work and they just were like, so.
when the paper mentions vans all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vans are cool. Mention all the vans.
Apparently, it
Gosh,
is, yeah.
that's
Allie,
so
do you
funny.
use it in anything you do?
She's like, I use it to run.
Nonprofit, probably not as much in your day job, but
I actually use it quite a bit in my
nice.
day job. A lot of
As a psychologist.
As a psychologist, yeah. As a psychologist. Most of my work as a psychologist is in diagnostic assessment. So I'm writing really lengthy, comprehensive diagnostic reports about children and adolescents. And so I'll come up to something like regression to the mean, which is a complicated topic, right? And I'll go and say like, okay, I need 2 sentences that explain this concept really concisely, and then try and see if I can get it to help me sort of condense my thinking. So I use it quite a bit, and there's some really, really, really interesting research happening in the mental health field around using machine learning and language learning models to help therapists get feedback on their sessions, like what percentage of open-ended questions did you ask? How often did the client respond extensively, and what kind of content were they responding to in that way?
Do you record sessions?
Yeah,
Are you
that's
allowed
the
to?
question.
So this is particular research that's happening where people are transcribing sessions. But there's a researcher at the University of Utah who's kind of on the cutting edge of this. And so, obviously there's all this talk about like, therapy AI or, replacing mental health therapists. I do think we're still a ways away from that human touch. But I mean, diagnoses, for example, really are an algorithm of choice making. Does it fit these criteria or does it not? And there's an art to that, and there's also a science to it, certainly. And so I think
Be
we
interesting
might get
to
there.
purposely try to replace yourself to see how good it could get.
Right.
Let's see what you got, AI. Come on.
Just
Let's
type in the
go.
question my client asks, see what it says. What should I say back to
Yeah.
this?
Yeah. Like, let's see how close we are here. Yeah, that's fascinating. Interesting. Okay.
well, thanks for taking a moment to chat about that. So, what you do, Aimee, asking these good questions. Go ahead.
It is wrong very often, I will say.
It is wrong. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I was chatting with Gemini about like this installation that I'm creating, or I've created, that's going to be at the show, and it was trying to give me a bunch of ideas, and then it was saying like, oh, you should put lights in it and then fire it in the kiln. I was like, no, no, I don't think that would work. They will melt. And I was like, oh yes, you're right, they'll melt.
Funny.
So like, we need the humans still. So that's good.
So that's good.
Yeah, for common sense.
All right. So we have an opening on Friday. So what other dates do we need to know about?
Well, so on February 6th, Thursday, Elyse is going to have an artist talk at Weber State University.
Weber State?
Art
Shout out.
department. Mm-hmm.
This will come out on Thursday.
Yeah. What time? What time's your thing on Thursday?
6 p.m.
Okay, so it'll come out Thursday afternoon.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This is, we're not live.
That's true. Okay. And then, so Elyse will get a more in-depth perspective into her art practice. And that is in partnership with the Elizabeth D. Shaw Gallery. So that'll be at 6 p.m. on Thursday. And then Friday is the opening reception. Members only happy hour is from 4 to 6. So if you don't have a membership, you should get one. at ogdencontemporaryarts.org. And then it's open to the public from 6 to 9 p.m. And then the next day, Saturday the 8th, Elyse is partnering with Angelica Brewer to do an artist factory workshop that is also open to the
Elyse is hearing this for the first time, so be ready on Saturday.
Yeah, so it'll be merging.
Angelica
poetry
is
and
the
ceramics.
Ogden Poet Laureate.
Ogden City's Poet Laureate. She's amazing. So they'll have that. It's almost full. So our 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. time slot is full. There may be a few spots left in the 11 to 1. Last I checked, there were a couple spots left, so that one's filling up fast. It is free. And then on March 7th, that'll be the first Friday in March, Aimee's going to have her artist talk at Ogden Contemporary Arts. So we invite everyone to come out to see that as well. It's going to be awesome.
And then I'm sure on your website you have special hours during NCECA, I'm guessing. Because
Yes,
we do at Finch Lane, I know.
Yeah, so during NCECA week, we'll be open Monday through Sunday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and then Sunday it's 12 to 4. So
that's the end of March. And NCECA brings 6,000 to 8,000 ceramics nerds.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of
Artists.
Ceramic cool people.
There's a lot of ceramics cool people.
yeah, there's going to
That's
be a
gonna
lot
be
of
in town.
incredible
So
ceramic
make some time to see some ceramics and buy some ceramics.
Yes, absolutely. Buy ceramics; they're amazing.
But everywhere
Is this
from
like your industry thing? This is like,
I've never been, but
oh, you haven't?
But yes, it's kind of a
It's like their OR.
big deal.
Big deal.
It's kind of like a little OR, yeah.
Okay.
But I think if you do a little bit of looking, I look on NCECA's page, but if you start poking around, you'll see ceramics shows from Logan to Provo, everywhere in between.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so some are just for the week of the show, some like Finch Lane and Oka is for a longer period of time.
Mm-hmm.
I think ours runs 6 weeks. Yours is pretty close to that.
Yeah, about that.
Um,
It's so it's going to be February 7th through April 13th or 12th, whichever one is a Sunday. I'm really tired right now, but
Yeah. Y'all have done so good.
She wants to keep
considering how
working
busy you are
over
right
there.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah. That seems like a good time to kind of wrap things. But that being said, y'all have been amazing. Thanks for making time for us. If you are able to make it to the opening, obviously I'm biased because of, my relationship with Finch Lane. But if you can ever go to gallery openings, it is an incredible opportunity. And so if you can make it on Friday, it's a special Friday because it's Ogden's first Friday art stroll. So you're going to see a lot of art that night. It's also a good opportunity to listen to some music, right, Brandon?
Yeah, we have a interesting lineup that you've put together, by the way. I'm like, wow, that's eclectic. So Friday will be fun.
Yeah. I do my best. Yeah. But the van will be set up. Some great music. Come say hi in the studio if you want to. But see some art, chat with the artists. Y'all are both be there?
Yeah.
Okay, of course you will. All right, Brandon, what do you got?
Well, I was going to ask you about Sundance because
So I saw, I don't know, maybe a dozen-ish movies because of my friend Jeff. It was a little different because I didn't stay out there. So I kind of made the drive back and forth. Usually we have a place and we line up and we stay up there. But still saw some great movies. It was a little bit of a different vibe, a little bit less snow out there. That kind of adds a little
it's low tide
extra.
this year.
It is kind of low tide.
I don't know if you know, it's low tide this year.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a lot of snow.
Yeah, you would know it's like 62 today.
Although we had, so I'm also on the Ogden Avalanche Advisory Committee, whatever. It's a nonprofit as well. And this last little storm, it was wet and we had natural avalanches going off in the backcountry. And so, and unfortunately, yesterday we had a death in a snowmobiler. Got buried, a 37-year-old. Super sad. So pay attention to Utah Avalanche Center, Ogden Avalanche. If you are even like trail running, snowshoeing,
pull up the Weather Channel.
Pull them all up because they can slide, and it depends on. I mean, I didn't know this for a long time. I would just go out and like hike or whatever and go snowshoeing. I had no idea, and little did I know, like above me is like avalanche terrain. So if you're in the mountains this time of year, it's a good idea to pay attention to that kind of thing.
Yeah. Thanks for doing what you do. Do you know, is there any classes coming up? Do you know?
Yeah, so we have a our last B Street speaker series, and so it's been really fun. I live stream them from Roosters B Street, and this is the last one. This is a medical or whatever theme this week. So this Thursday is it'll be tonight if you're listening to this podcast on day one that it comes out. At Roosters B Street, you can come hang out with us, drink a beer, and listen to the chat. I can't remember.
It might just save your life.
It's Taylor. It's Dixon's wife, who's a doc, and she's gonna. It might save your life. I can't remember what she's gonna chat about, but she's gonna chat about essentially being safe in the backcountry, and yeah. And I'll live stream it, so it'll be on Ogden Avalanche YouTube, Ogden Avalanche Facebook. It'll actually be on our Ogden Arts and Adventure Facebook page as well, live stream. We put it on all the places because we just need to get the information out there, because people still end up in these situations and they get buried and it's not good. So we're just trying to get the education out there.
Just like that. Yeah. That's it. That's all I got. Anything else? I think that's a perfect wrap.
Thanks
for making time for us, you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks to Banyan One. That's this trailer right here for powering today's episode of the Ogden Arts and Adventure Show. Listen and subscribe to Ogden Arts and Adventure on YouTube. Look for us on Facebook, Instagram, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and thebanyancollective.com. That's a website. And the Podbean app for Android and iPhones. If you want to be on the show, DM me, slip into those DMs at Ogden Adventure. Sometimes I respond. If you found value in this podcast, consider giving us your life savings at buymeacoffee.com/Banyan Media. This week's outdoor jukebox. This was a fun one by Bryant Adair called Loneliness. You can check out all Van Sessions on YouTube under Van Sessions Pod. We'll see you next week on the Ogden Arts and Adventure Show. Cheers.
Hello, Mr. Loneliness. It's good to see you again. 3 cheers to your cold embrace. Let the devils rush on in. It's been a while. How have you been? You still playing pool with misery and sin? I'm doing fine. Plenty of room in the bed, and with no love in my heart, plenty of room in my head. Hello, Mr. Loneliness. It's good to see you again. 3 cheers to your cold embrace. Let the devils rush on in. Barry heard you knocking round his door after you'd been hanging with the crackheads and whores. Here I find you at the bottom of a glass. Let's have another one and just watch time pass. Hello, Mr. Loneliness. It's good to see you again. 3 cheers to your cold embrace. Let the devils rush on in. Sure's nice having you around. You've always kept my feet on the ground. Me and you till the day that I die. Gee, Mr. Lonely, you're a hell of a guy. Hello, Mr. Loneliness. It's so good to see you again. 3 cheers to your cold embrace. Let the devils rush on in. Hello, Mr. Loneliness. It's so good to see you again. 3 cheers to your cold embrace. Let the devils rush on in. Hello, Mr. Loneliness. It's good to see you again. 3 cheers to your cold embrace. Let the devils rush on in. Goodbye, Mr. Loneliness. Hope to see you again.
You have good stuff.